This is a conversation really worth savoring. It's a discussion that you might want to steep yourself into, and if you are interested in what the new human blueprint looks like, it's something I talk about in pretty much all the spaces that I occupy. It's what I teach and share about. And it's something that, we like to use this word becoming. We're not becoming this, we're uncovering this, because it's already, it's latent potential in our own DNA. And this evolutionary shift of, let's just call it the 1.0 version of human to the 2.0 version, literally the old earth, the old human blueprint that's rooted in fear and survival and competition and languishes in the energy of lack and misunderstanding of their divinity. That's the old human, that's the 1.0 version. And we can put our fingers right on the evolutionary pulse of this new human. Again, not as he is becoming, because it's already here. It's latent potential being harmonized by higher light quotients in our own DNA. We can see this unspooling from years, decades, centuries, thousands of years of lack and want and misunderstanding our own divinity and how we're interconnected to all life, how we are a fractal pulse of all that is, and how powerful this is and what it looks like. And, we can talk about it in really nebulous and esoteric ways, but I want to take this opportunity to talk about how this new coherence with life is something that we're responding to in real time. We don't have to force it. It's more about unspooling ourselves, unfurling ourselves from the layers of false light that have been covering that up. And so it's not something we're building, it's not something we're becoming, it's what we're uncovering. And the gene keys, with their hologenetic map, your profile, which it really gives you a profound way to unlock this latent potential in your own energy field. I'm going to talk about that here. And it really is about being this new living transmission of unity. This being, this new human, functions in coherence with life rather than reacting to life. It's about responding. It's about allowing rather than forcing. It's about the new human being a sovereign creator, while at the same time, paradoxically, deeply interconnected with the collective field of all. Because we are everything. You are everything. You will never not be that. You will never not be all that is. And we're in this beginning stages, a lot of us are, where we're cracking this cocoon wide open. It's like a crack in the egg of our perception, and it really is this first stage of transformation. It's like a caterpillar in the chrysalis. We're unraveling from the old. We're dissolving the old in the goo phase, the goo phase of the chrysalis. It's messy. The goo phase of the caterpillar turning from, its old version into the new version of a butterfly. It's messy. It's messy. And we can certainly see how that's playing out on the world stage. We can see how it's playing out in our own inner reality. So there's 4 stages of this cracking of the cocoon, and you might notice as I talk about it, you might be in, feeling like you're in an alchemy of all 4 of these, or you might feel distinctly like you're stuck in one particular threshold. But I ask you to just take a deep breath in and let go of the mind's grasp of trying to intellectualize any of this, and just let go of any, rigidity you might have around these words, and simply, open your heart, open your belly, Open your mind, open your ears, maybe even close your eyes, and just, I invite you to just take what resonates here and leave the rest. So the first of these 4 stages is the dissolution of the old self. It's really the goo phase that dissolves the old, but it's also the fertile ground that is allowing the new to take hold. This is where the mind's grasp on old rigid identities and ways of being, of reality being a certain way, that all loosens up. Ego structures built on survival, they begin to erode here, they break down. And this is a very unsettling period, because what we've known and what has been familiar, which is actually keeping us locked in identity, is causing an identity crisis, because we're like, well, if this stuff that's in the mirror of outer reality isn't so anymore, and I've attached my identity to that, when that falls away, what does that say about me? So we're going through this ascension symptom, if you want to call it that, of an identity crisis, a personality crisis. We go into deep existential questioning. The second part of these 4 phases is we have this radical emotional alchemy. Again, part of the goo phase, part of the caterpillar in the chrysalis, reforming, transfiguring. It's this move to the new human. It's not intellectual, it's emotional. And it has a lot to do with our core wounding, the ancestral wounding that we've come into this experience with and said, hey, I want to transform this for humanity. I'm doing this as my service to humanity. Yes, of course you're going to experience the direct and immediate benefits of that yourself, but you are doing it for the collective. The Venus sequence in the gene keys becomes a real guidepost here, because it reveals the wounds that once defined our sense of self. And this is also where it showcases our deep-seated emotional patterns, so they can rise up into our conscious awareness, so that they can be witnessed, realized. We can become aware of them, because you can only transmute and change and transfigure what you're aware of. So it has to be part of the conscious awareness. A lot of this is coming up in your personal realm. It's coming up in the collective. It's messy. It's ugly. You're not going to see people acting their best when they're in this place, because if you've ever seen a wounded animal, it's very reactive, right? It's kind of the same thing with what's going on in the human story on the world stage at the moment. The third part of this is the leap from linear to quantum perception. This is where the mind begins to function in a non-linear way. You might be noticing this. You notice it through, you recognize synchronicities. Maybe it's like you start to see something like, was that always there? Because I'm just noticing it now. But it feels lighter. It feels more buoyant. It feels like it carries your energy aloft more than feeling heavy or anchored by it. You notice symbolic language more. You might notice more telepathic communication with people. Could start off easily with your pets, because if you have pets, you realize they're already open to that. That's how they mostly communicate with you anyway. It's body language, it's symbolic, it's looks, it's gestures. So you might notice it there. I notice it a lot with my own husband. We have a very telepathic engagement with each other. It's very interconnecting. But the truth is, it's just revealing what's already there, the interconnected nature of all things, of you to all things. You'll notice here your intuition strengthens. Logic doesn't really hold that supreme authority in your energy like it used to. You're willing to say, I'm going to feel into my gut, or I'm going to just feel, deep in my heart, what's the next move? What do I say here? This action shouldn't make sense, and yet I feel like, I want to behave in this way now. I want to do this thing now. And it won't make sense because, again, it's not intellectual. This is an emotional shift. This is emotional alchemy that's taking hold. And the fourth part of this, cracking of the old cocoon and the shifting from the 1.0 version to the 2.0 version, you'll notice more physical sensitivity because we're having more energy upgrades. We're literally having our own light shine out from new potentials being ignited in our DNA. That's going to shift some stuff around. That's going to reorganize the atoms of your consciousness. The body shifts in resonance, and you sometimes feel hypersensitive. You might notice your body needs more water. You might notice you need more sleep. You get tired more often because your body is detoxing a lot of old frequencies. If you've ever gone, through a fast, or maybe you had a really bad stomach flu, and just it was that kind of stomach flu where 2 exits, no waiting. Everything is just gone from your body. Sorry to be graphic, but if you ever had that kind of stomach flu or food poisoning, you know that it takes a minute for the body to recalibrate. The body is an incredibly efficient machine at detoxing the toxins that aren't supposed to be there. Well, old frequencies that have outlived their use, that's like old toxic energy too. And so the body is detoxing. The body is learning how to not survive, but thrive on the new frequencies. The more light-filled frequencies, they're potent, they're powerful. So the nervous system is recalibrating. It has to adapt to carry higher states of awareness. This is a very physical move for us, because the physical is the last layer of density to be affected by changing energies. And so it feels at last. But that's how we know things are shifting, things are moving. And the physical is the densest realm of what we call matter, or what we believe to be matter. Our ideas and definitions around that are changing by the day. But another way to know that this is working, and this is just a funny example in my life, is I embrace these new frequencies. And I'm willing to, allow for energetic upgrades. I'm in nature a lot more. That's going to be a super helpful thing, because the body is positively ionically charged. When you're in nature, when you're a forest, when you're next to the water, large body of water, a lake, a flowing stream, the ocean, you are exposed to negative ions, and it's balancing. It balances you. So going out in nature more often, not to mention, from an electromagnetic level, you're grounding through the feet. So if you get out, it's going into summertime here, you get out and walk in nature barefoot if you feel brave, and you're in a place there's no scorpions or snakes. Great. Go walk in a beautiful wooded forest and enjoy that. But I notice the breakdown on a physical level is that everything around me is breaking. That's how I know I'm already in that next threshold, that next energetic upgrade, because again, the physical is the last measure of density to experience these energetic shifts. And my car broke down twice this week. I had things break in my house. I'll break plates or dishes or cups, or our lawnmower broke. Our gas-powered lawnmower broke. We can't figure out what it is. And I laugh at those things. I mean, it's frustrating because you have to replace that stuff, but on a very physical, real world, hands-on, everyday level of this stuff, that's what it can look like. So you're cracking the cocoon. And so putting all this together, it's a stage, it's a state of being, and it's common for many individuals to oscillate between these old and new patterns. Like you'll feel enmeshed in these new energies, and it can be very, very delicious for your well-being. It's revitalizing, and sometimes you feel entombed by the old energies, where the old world pulls and feels heavy. The new self, the new human, is already glimpsing something more. It's already aware of itself at a different energetic frequency level, where there's more of an ease, a grace, a fluidity that wasn't present before. So when these shifts start to take hold and we start to allow for them, like having these descriptions might open up an energy in you, and I certainly hope that it does, of surrendering, of letting go. Just a little bit more. As the old world wants to pull you back into its vacuum, into its black hole, you don't have to say yes to that. You don't have to choose that. You say, nah, I'm in it at this point for more ease, more grace, more fluidity. That's where it's at. That's what I want. That's what I prefer. I choose that. But in those moments, we have to have that keen awareness, enough of that awareness to say, I'm not being tested here. I'm being given a choice. It's a choice. And who's giving you that choice? Well, you, because there is nothing else but you. There is no secondary cause for your happiness, your ease, your grace, your fluidity. It's all you. You are the cause. You are at cause in your life when you're actively choosing, I'm the new human now. I am that. And you start to move in life from that. here's what this looks like. This is the quantum creator. When this blueprint that I'm about to explain is fully embodied, you're going to witness these profound shifts. Reality, you engage with it differently. Because the new human in these 5 stages I'm going to talk about, number 1, creates effortlessly through frequency. So before, where it was efforting, where it was striving, the new human attunes their state of being to draw forth reality from the quantum field. So it's all here. All reality is all already here. Creation is finished. There's nothing new under the sun. So when you're in this frequency, you're drawing forth potentials in the quantum field that already exist. They're already there. But these higher and better potentials, the things you say you want, the things you desire, you're now a match for them. And so you must understand that life mirrors your inner frequency. This is the mirror principle. It's universal law. The new human exists in a state of easeful prosperity. This is where you're not chasing anything. You can't really chase anything. You can't change anything. There is no one to change but self. So it is about saying, yes, I now move in my life from the blueprint of the new human. And when you do, opportunities, aligned relationships, money, it all flows as a natural expression of this presence. Because you finally recognize yourself as source. You are the source. You are the cause. There is no secondary cause. There is no one outside of you testing you. That is a fiction we need to dissolve as part of the old superstitious human, thinking that there's some God on the throne in the sky saying you shall have this, thou shalt not have that. It doesn't exist. And in fact, it's holding us back from this new human potential in many, many ways. The new human embodies an open heart, pure presence. We can see this written throughout the 55th gene key that goes from the shadow of victim, which is absolutely this transformation, and going into the gift of freedom and the city of freedom. The city is like the superpower if you're not familiar with the gene keys. And this is the only gene key where the gift frequency and the city frequency are the same. There are different expressions, deeper integrations of freedom, of liberation. And so this is the promise of the age of freedom. And this is becoming fulfilled in those who fully embody or embracing the new human blueprint and saying, I am that. I move in life from that. You are emotionally unarmored. The subtle armor that keeps you protecting your heart, you don't feel the need to protect yourself at that level anymore because you're not living in survival consciousness. This is a natural progression into being more deeply compassionate, embodying unity consciousness. You forgive it all. You forgive everyone because you know you've been that player too. The person who wronged you, you're that. That person that did you right and did you a favor, you are that. You are all of it. So you must forgive all of it at the same time. And when you do, it opens up. You live in synchronicity and trust. Resistance to life dissolves. You can't have an unforgiving heart and say, I'm not resistant to life at the same time. That is resistance. An unforgiving heart is the definition of resistance. Pushing back at life, thinking there's people who will wrong you, who are wronging the world, allows you to stay in that victim consciousness. That is not freedom. That is not liberation. That is not the new human. And this is, yes, difficult for a lot of people. We like our grudges. We love our resentments. We love to point the finger of blame. But it's keeping us rooted in the 1.0 version of human. It's keeping us rooted in lack. It's keeping us rooted in victim consciousness and thereby survival mode. But then there's others who are willing to live in the synchronicity and trust, forgive it all, live with an open heart, let go of the subtle armor, live in pure presence, dropping the masks, the need to be performative. Performance is no longer where it's at. That's the 1.0 version of human. It's presence. It's being able to be so open and allowing of all that you are and understanding that there's magic even in your shadow. Because in the shadow, that's the friction that allows you to move in a different direction. If we didn't have friction and that level of struggle that comes from the shadow, we wouldn't be able to play with this experience of becoming or moving forward or progressing. It's literally how we do it. And so when you ignore the shadow, you are ignoring growth, you are ignoring expansion. And those of us who are following the golden thread, which is the synchronicity of life that flows at this level of the new human, those of us surrendering ourselves and leaning in fully to this, we know that reality itself is conspiring to just unspool more revelations about the magic that's already here, the potentials that already exist. And we become a better match for them more and more, because we allow the frequency within us, the light within us, to keep rising. And the new human holds a frequency of transformation for the collective when we do that. That is how we shift the collective, because there is nothing or no one to change outside of you. And you know this if you've ever had a experience of trying to change someone. I've known more than my share of people who fought addictions. Some of them didn't win those battles. And you can love that person, you can try really hard, to push them to change, inspire them to change, but that you can't change anyone or anything outside of yourself. The only thing to change is self. So when you decide to live in more presence, just by being, you're igniting those latent codes in the DNA of others, because we share DNA. As a human family, we share DNA. We're so close to each other in our DNA. And we speak to each other. We telepathically send signals. We telegraph signals to each other all the time through the DNA. We're going to be doing this more and more as the new human, because telepathy is going to, take over for a lot of the words that have outlived their use as well. A lot of the things that are happening, the way we feel, what we're tapping into, there's just not, words can be insufficient at that level for those kinds of things. And all these latent codes in ourselves and other people, when we are just holding this frequency of being open, surrendering to this new human, we hold that frequency of transformation for the collective. No need to preach, no need to push, no need to manipulate or convince. The presence is the transmission. It's the transformation. The rest just takes care of itself. And this has a destiny. It's not a final destination, but it is a destiny in the sense that it's a path. So as more individuals attune to this blueprint, a new civilization just naturally emerges, and it's coming from a place of resonance. A collapse of frequency that held the old hierarchical systems in place, they collapse under their own weight at that point, because this new light doesn't support it. And with that goes the need for competition, domination, and scarcity thinking. And when that dissolves, the external world has to reorganize itself around this shift in consciousness, this new frequency, this new resonance. It's an organic inevitability. And it might seem like a utopian fantasy. That's fine. You take what resonates here and you leave the rest. But there are pieces and tidbits here that I know speak to you now, that I know are invitations from my soul to yours. Like, you already know this is true. I'm not teaching you anything here. You're remembering. You're remembering that the new human that I'm talking about, it was always the natural evolutionary response to an era of collapse and transition. It's an inevitability. We look out at this world and just on a very real world, everyday level, we can see this is not sustainable. This is not good for everybody. And we can let go of these false dichotomies of good or bad. Is it wholesome? Is it beautiful? Are we embracing beauty? Are we embracing grace? Are we embracing love? Or are we embracing fear? Are we cowering to these old systems because we think they have some hold over us? Those are outdated paradigms, and the longer we stay in attachment to them, the more we stay in suffering. Those who are resisting this new human blueprint, it's like an admission that I want to keep suffering. I want to experience suffering because I'm going to keep attached to these outdated paradigms, even as they fall away, even as they crumble around us. It's amazing what some people will do when they stay so stuck in survival mode. It's like playing with this energy of rearranging the furniture in the house when the house is on fire. That's how ridiculous it is. And I'm not trying to judge or admonish anyone here, because there are many of us who are going to go along on this ascension roller coaster and be willing to ride the ups and downs and say, you know what, but I'm willing to ride the ups and downs because I know this leads to a greater destiny. And this is just the mess, the goo phase that we have to go through. We got to ride the wave effortlessly at some point, but there might be, some struggle before we get there. But we're recalibrating, right? We're unlearning the old. We're reorganizing ourselves as organisms, as a human organism, but also as a human family. That kind of organism is being reorganized as well. But can you trust it? Can you fully trust, not only what is emerging for this collective, but can you trust what is emerging in you, because it's already happening? So if you want to ride this wave, this roller coaster, with a little more grace, with a little less effort, I have created a pretty amazing free report. I created it and put it on my website as a freebie that you can check out. And it is a PDF integration of 3 very potent gene keys in your hologenetic profile. And if you don't have one of these, they're free to get. You can go to the genekeys.com website and do your free profile. It's just like doing your natal chart. So you have to put in your full name, your time and date and place of birth. And you'll have an immediate hologenetic profile. And when you look at those and you look at these 3 key spheres that come from 3 different sequences, because, well, there's 4 now if you count the star pearl sequence, but there are 3 main sequences within the gene keys. You have the genius activation sequence, you have the Venus sequence, and you have the pearl sequence. And in those, you have a radiance sphere, you have an attraction sphere, and a pearl sphere. And together, they form what I call an invisible circuit. This invisible circuit becomes a living stream of guidance. It reminds you that your prosperity is encoded in your presence, meaning just you being you, without the masks, without the performance. And when you stop trying to hide or fix or shout your way into alignment with all the things you say you want to have, and with this, being in service to the collective, when you stop doing that, you naturally become the center of a very quiet but very powerful revolution within you. That revolution of the old human into the new human. The one who creates effortlessly through frequency. The one who exists in a state of easeful prosperity. The one who embodies an open heart and pure presence. The one who lives in synchronicity and trust and faith. And holds a frequency of transformation for the collective because of doing all the above. And so I made it for you. And when I teach my Flourish program, you get your own profile with your particular key line numbers and sphere numbers decoded, because I have this gift of being able to do that. One of my clients called me recently the Gene Key Whisperer because of my ability to do this with people's profiles. But this is a generalized but also very profound look at how these 3 spheres of radiance, attraction, and pearl become a living stream of guidance, reminding you that your prosperity is already encoded within you. Remember, there's nothing new under the sun. It's already here. All your prosperity, all your desires fulfilled, they're already here. They're not matching you in the outer world of reality because you're not a match for it internally. It's always inner to outer when you're shifting your experience of consciousness. So I invite you to check that out. It's totally free. You just go to my website, catherinemasel.com. It's in the description of this video. It's also a pinned comment for this video. And get your own. And I'd love your feedback on it. And it's a PDF you download. You can have it for as long as you like. And it grows. Like these transmissions, when you look at them, even if they're not, the exact decoding of your particular gene keys, that's what we do in Flourish program with this particular sequence. It's how we close out these 4 weeks together, by you getting your own bespoke reading of this for your profile. But even in the generalized sense, it's very, very insightful. And it's going to be a transmission and activation of more of your prosperity potential every time you read through this PDF, because that's how it's designed. That's why I created it. So if you found this helpful, and if anything really rang true or, hit you in the feels here in a way that you'd like to share with me, drop it in the comments. I'd love to know. It really helps if you like this video. That way it can find its way to other conscious creators like yourself who are interested in the new human and our experience of that unfolding. And if you like this channel and you want more content of it to cross your path when you're on YouTube, please subscribe. I would love that. Thank you so much for listening. I wish you so much love and blessings. Bye-bye.